Visitors from Purgatory is a book that contains a lot of revelations too about purgatory. Some people don't know that God, in his infinite mercy and love for mankind, has allowed some people to go to purgatory and come back. Has allowed some people in purgatory to come back to the earth and appear to their beloved ones and tell them things that turned out to be the truth. It contains how Pope Innocent III died and how he appeared to Reverend Sisters in the city of Brabant a few hours after his death. They didn't know he had died, and he just appeared to them and revealed to them that he had just died and had just been judged, and this is the sentence, and he needed prayers from them. And they started praying for him because he was sentenced to purgatory. The book also contains a lot of stories about people who have come from purgatory to reveal what will happen to somebody, to some people, give them a precise date when it will happen, and on that date, those things happen. It is a book that everybody needs to read to know about purgatory and find out what is happening in that place. Because people have seen purgatory and people have seen hell. This book contains stories from people who have been chanced to go to hell and see what is happening in hell. See how hell is, how people are suffering there, and then came back to earth to narrate their stories. Go to purgatory and tour the whole purgatory and find out how purgatory is, what is in purgatory: fire, ice. Some people don't know there's a section of purgatory where people are punished with ice blocks. Some are being punished with fire. Some are punished in various ways depending on the grade of their sins before they died. So it's a book that contains a lot of stories that will thrill you when you read. It's a thrilling book. It teaches you a lot of things and then entertains you because of the stories there. From this book you hear the story of one man called Mr. Peter Miles who died, and 3 years after his death, a case came up, a piece of land he sold to the church. The governor of the state wanted to take that land from the church, and the governor went and bribed the parishioners, the council members of the church, and they denied the bishop at the court. They claimed that they didn't know anything about the land, whereas they knew everything about the land. Bishop prayed to God, and God gave him the power to go to Peter Miles' grave and raise him up. Peter Miles, the grave was opened and people saw the skeleton changing from skeleton to flesh. The dress he wore came back, and the man rose from the grave, and the bishop held him by the hand, and they walked into the courtroom, and people fled. People who knew him fled. The man came to the court and spoke and rebuked all those who denied the bishop, including his 3 children who were present, who also didn't know about their father selling a piece of land. After doing this, he went back to the grave. The bishop asked him, "Now that you have come back to life, I can ask God to allow you to continue living." He said, No, I want to go back to purgatory because I'm not sure that if I live again, I will end purgatory. Suppose I live and go to hell. Let me go to purgatory. At least here I'm sure that from purgatory I'll go to heaven. And he led him back to the grave. The man comfortably entered his grave again, and the whole thing disappeared. The skeleton came and remained the form they were, and the grave was covered. These things happened live, and thousands of people, including journalists, featured the whole event. It was published in papers. A lot of things, that even the one that happened a few years ago, 1917, at Fatima, when the sun left the sky, almost the whole world was at Fatima, because the thing was announced over the radio, and newspapers carried the news that the Blessed Virgin Mary said she would come on the 13th of October 1917 at Fatima to do wonders, and people gathered to watch, and they came and saw what they never believed was possible. The sun left the sky and started rushing down, changing colors and dancing about in a zigzag manner, changing color from red to green and yellow, and growing big as it descended, bigger than a football field, and people were shouting and thought it was the end of the world. At the end, it started going back again slowly and went back to the sky. The next day, all the papers carried it in Portugal. It was a great event. With so many people saw it. Now, when you read such things in books, you think it's a fairy tale, but there are people who saw these things live And those newspapers published at that time are still present, are still available in many archives. People can still go and pick them up and read and see what happened, the miracles that happened on that day. So all these are contained in that book of Purgatory. This book, along with other books by me, can be ordered from Amazon by clicking the link below.